Friday, October 6th, my stars finally aligned for me. My arrows were freshly painted and freshly feathered. My hunting clothes were air drying up on the line. My stand was hung up on a beautiful acorn ridge where I predicted the wind would be in my favor. All that was left to do was wait. I got up bright and early that day and made my way out. I knew that there was a rainstorm coming in shortly after first light, and I also knew and hoped that the deer would come to feed right before the rain would come. A second after first light, I was one arrow lighter. I had just let loose on a magnificent buck that was right behind me feeding on acorns. After I shot, I took a couple of photos of where he stood, where I aimed the arrow at, and jotted down every little note that I could think of that might become important later. When I shot, I saw the buck stumble sideways before taking off, and I remember seeing the white feathers of my arrow sticking out of his chest cavity, so I thought that it was a pretty good shot. I had a lot of hope for this buck. I quietly ducked out of the woods and returned a short while later with my son and husband, and we began to track this deer. We found blood, followed it about 20 yards out, which was where my arrow laid. It was very bent, very bloody, and that gave me a tremendous amount of hope into finding this buck. So we followed the blood, followed it all the way across this acorn ridge, and then down a very steep hill and into a thicket. And ultimately, that's where we found this buck. I was besides myself. I could not believe that this was actually happening for me after 6 long seasons of hunting with the traditional bow. And although I had taken doe and various critters before, I never thought that a buck would be something that I would be able to take despite my efforts. This was a hunt and retrieval that I will never forget, and that I am so very thankful for. And having my husband and son with me that day, tracking this deer and retrieving this deer, was one of the best parts about this. I will never forget the look on my son's face when he said, "Mom, you killed a monster." So whatever you're working on in life, whether it be life or your traditional journey, keep on keeping on, keep at it. You will succeed eventually.